we're good.
Okay, great. Hello, everyone. I am Jim Skorensky, the EDS Operations Director. Welcome to today's EDS webinar on V FabLab, an interactive virtual environment to train on fabrication of semiconductor devices, presented by Dr. Mohammad Mustafa Hussain. First, a few housekeeping details. We will have a question and answer session after today's talk. If you have questions for our presenter, please use the Q&A window located on the right side of your screen to share these with the EDS staff or our presenter at the end of the session. I would like now to introduce today's speaker. Dr. Hussain is currently a visiting professor at EECS, UC Berkeley. He is also professor of electrical engineering at King Abdullah University Science and Technology, KAUST. He was program manager at Semitech between 2008 and 2009 and process integration lead for 22 nanometer node FinFET CMOS at Texas Instruments from 2006 to 2008. His research is focused on futuristic electronics, which has received support from DARPA, Boeing, Lockheed Martin, GSK Novartis, Saudi Aramco, and Saudi Basic Industries Corporation, SABIC. He has authored over 350 research papers and patents. His students are currently working at MIT Media Lab, Stanford, Caltech, UC Berkeley, Harvard, UCLA, Intel, TSMC, and Dow Chemicals. He is a fellow of the American Physical Society and the Institute of Physics, UK, a distinguished lecturer at IEEE Electron Devices Society, and an editor of one of our own journals, IEEE Transactions on Electron Devices. He is a recipient of 41 awards, notably the IEEE Region 5 Outstanding Individual Achievement Award 2016, the Outstanding Young Texas X's Award 2015, the IEEE EDS Distinguished Service Award 2017. His research has been extensively highlighted by international media, including CNN, Fox News, The Washington Post, Wall Street Journal, IEEE Spectrum, etc., including being featured by Scientific American and one of the top 10 world-changing ideas in 2014. And so without any further delay, it is my great pleasure to introduce Dr. Hussain.
Thank you, Jim. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone based on where you are connecting from. I'm Mohammad Hussain, and I'm a professor of engineering. Currently, I'm also a visiting professor of UC Berkeley, and it's my pleasure to introduce today and talk about the virtual FabLab. So, in this talk, we'll take you through step-by-step processes of how to use the V FabLab. Why we came up with this idea, where we are going with this, and how we can engage the community to make it a successful endeavor, especially for the students and the learners who otherwise do not have access to the clean room facility. So let's get going. So the reason that I thought that having a virtual fabrication, the clean room type environment is, I have been teaching a course in house for the last 10 years, which is focused on device fabrication laboratory. When I was a student at USC, in University of Southern California, Los Angeles, as well as University of Texas at Austin, in both of these universities, I took this course, and actually this is the course which inspired me to pursue a career in solid-state devices. When I realized a couple of things about accessing the clean room and receiving training on solid-state devices, first of all, the clean room is a sophisticated facility. This is one of the most expensive lab environments, as well as we do have hazardous gases, lasers, and other chemicals which can be potentially extremely harmful. So when we think about that there are two kind of users. First kind of users are the ones who have access to the clean room, and the other who do not have access to the clean room. So if you go with the first one, then definitely when they go inside the clean room for the first time and start receiving the training, it can be a very overwhelming experience for them. So how to minimize the burden on the clean room facility as well as the users and the prospective users, and so that we can have a gradually uh, incremental procedure to have a smooth transition to the clean room environment. So one of the objectives is there, and another objective is how we can give access to those who I would say are underprivileged in context of not having clean room facilities. So if we look at the one of the charts that was pretty old, but it's not obsolete completely, it really shows a true reflection of what's going on. In a clean room environment, there are certain elements which are being used, like electricity, water, like the people who are working, their benefits, and other costs associated. So if number of users go up in the room facility, then the electricity consumption goes up, and it comes with the cost. At the same time, the clean rooms, the cleanliness, let's say it's a class 10 clean room, or class 5 or class 1000, that can also be compromised. So the other is whenever there are users who are at the beginning level, so they can potentially be exposed to safety hazards. So based on all this, the idea was that can we have a fully interactive training experience for learners all around the world, especially who have limited access to clean room facilities. Now, this is not an absolutely new idea because there are flight simulators where most of the pilots they are receiving training today, and then they are going for the actual plane and having flying the planes for us. So in that context, having a clean room, virtualized clean room facility is not a complete departure from what's going on. And if we pay attention, then it's possible to have a completely enhanced learning experience for many, many interested users. So how did we get started? So back in 2013, after nearly 3 years of teaching, I realized that this will be an effective learning methodology, and which is essentially can be a critical element and component for the up and rising the virtual learning. As you know, there are different online education sources are available where many of us make lectures or sometimes we become students. I myself become students in some of the cases. But at the same time, there is not that many options available when we think about the lab experiences. So that was really the idea behind that, and that was back in 2013. And in 2015, when we have a better idea about what we would like to do, how much it may cost us, and what would be the different taxes, we started looking for the investments. After multiple search, then Dean Mutaz El Nazahi of Computer, Electrical, Mathematical Science and Engineering Division of King Abdullah University of Science and Technology. So he generously came forward and he made an initial investment on behalf of us so that we can realize the first phase of virtual FabLab. And today, the demonstration will be based entirely on that. So then initial development and testing, we went through the potential, the developing group, and then after searching, then we went through a selection process, and then back in 2017 we started working together to gather the data as well as the exchanging them and having the initial development and tests done. And back in 2018, in the later part, we started working with the KAUST Information Technology Division as well as the Google the Cloud Service, so that we have two different deployments. So the one which is the hosted, the server hosted by the KAUST IT, the Information Technology Division, that is accessible by the users who are located within the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And they were the early users. We started with King Fahd University of Petroleum and Minerals, located in the eastern province of the kingdom. There, the students who were advised and taught by one of my former students and currently an associate professor there, Professor Jonathan Rojas. So their group, they started working remotely using this, and then they came to the KAUST facility in the core labs and used that, and we gathered their experience. At the same time, we tested it out in 26 different countries using 84 different users throughout the time period. At the same time, we realized that for easy accessibility and better connectivity, we deployed the similar version with a little bit of the tweaking in the cloud in the Google Cloud, and that's the one that most of you are accessing today, which is the vFabLab.org. So going forward, so we launched it from 16th of January 2019 this year, and going forward, we are tracking the user engagement and how we can improve the experience through further trainings and constant development of new tools and training environments. So, and that's exactly the reason that we'll be looking forward to receiving your feedbacks time to time with the coordinates that we'll be providing at the end of this the session. So the way that it gets started is a potential user, an interested user, has to sign up. So whenever someone goes to this the vFabLab.org site, there is this whole page where they should be looking at that there is this specific interface where someone has to press the sign up button located on the initial screen and fill out the form, which will include the first name, last name, email address, a password that will be determined by them, the university or the organization that they are representing, the department or the specific group that they belong to, and there are categories like the students, faculty, professionals, as well as what is their degree level at this moment, the high school, the college, the graduate, postgraduate, and then the phone number. So when they have this form filled up, then a confirmation email is sent out to the user for the account to be approved. So a couple of things about, because there are certain data has been secured while registration process. So we would like to ensure all of our users that under no circumstance we share or read any of the data provided. All the provided information is encrypted and cannot be seen after registration. Emails provided are only used as usernames and to receive the confirmation email, and that remains in our database, because when the users, you will see it going forward in this session, at the end of a training module or a training sequence, a user can participate in an interactive Q&A session, so where they can track eventually how is their progress. So that's why the email is the one that we also see. The confirmation emails are sent by an automatic system, and no person, internal and external, has access to them at this point. So now, after that, we ask the registered users to watch this specific video. I'm going to run this video. You may have a little bit of hearing issue because I'm running it through my computer, but whenever you go to the site, you will see exactly the same video.
Hello, and welcome to the training for the virtual FabLab. In order to go to the start screen, please go to the link that was provided to you. Once you click on the link, you will appear on this page, and make sure you zoom out of the current page by clicking the zoom out button under view. Once you have zoomed out, please enter and log in with your username and password provided. Once you have logged on, this will be the screen that appears to you. On the left-hand side are a number of tools that are available in this screen. On the right-hand side is the settings menu with the following help buttons. So for our first task, we shall look at dry etching. In order to start, we click on Start. It shows overview of what is in the screen. It's the objective, which provides multiple tasks that need to be completed in order for completing the objective, and this is the overall objective. Secondly, there is a specific task that needs to be completed, which won't change after you complete the task. This is a hand button, which will help you hold or pick up certain tools. This is the same second option that was available earlier. And this is a question mark that will help you give more information about what the current task is. For example, now the current task is to select stop, which says go to the display next to the dry etch machine and click on the stop button. In order to do this, we will have to move to the orange circle, and then for doing that, you will need to left click on your mouse and move up and down, or you can move backward and forward using the arrow key. Once you have gotten to the desired position, please click on the orange rectangle that is provided. Once you get to this screen, select stop as shown over here and go click that. And once you click that task, the second task changes to go click on it. A timer starts and you can skip it. The next task is to turn now to chamber up position, which is not on this screen, so you select the man with the arrow to escape the screen. Now we move to the extrude tool, where another orange square appears where we select chamber up. This picture shows the actual working of the machine. The next task is to lift the chamber, which is this button. Similarly, a different version of the picture of what exactly to do. In order to pick up the wafer, we select you move to the wafer that is available. Use the hand tool to pick up just that. Once you selected the wafer, you move back to the tool, place the wafer on it, and the point position you. And then go ahead and pick up the wafer. And place it on. Now turn the chamber down. And then close the chamber. The rest of the task can be completed in the same way, so please go ahead and give it a shot. In order to exit the screen, need to continue that. Click on Edit and click Create. Since we're using Virtual FabLab.
Okay, so we are back. Before we proceed any further, I would like to make a request to all the participants. If you may kindly mute your mic, then we can reduce the background noise. We would very much appreciate that. Okay, so currently there are 8 different training modules and assessment are available, which includes the standard CMOS technology modules, the dry etch or reactive ion etching, ALD or atomic layer deposition, sputtering, which is popularly known as the physical vapor deposition or PVD, the plasma enhanced chemical vapor deposition or PECVD, lithography with etching, oxidation, and chemical mechanical polishing or CMP. So right now I will be walking you through the lithography module to start with. Whenever you click lithography, then this specific the template will be available, which is the lithography, which is the machine name. There is a specific definition, a brief definition of the process itself, which is the process description, and the training, what you are expecting through this training. And there is also an assessment module. If you are done with the training, then you can go for the evaluation where you can interactively go through this assessment module. So you will need your keyboard where up and down and right and left arrow, they can be used in plane movement keys, or you can have the camera movement using click and drag. So interactively you can click and you can go there. So as you can see on some of these on the left side, whenever you access the lithography module, so you see that this is a clean room environment. So your interaction points are going to be indicated by this specific circular, the orange rings, which is essentially where you are going to be physically located. So you can follow this, wherever you go, you will be actually, so if it shows here, so you move yourself using the arrow keys to be here, and then this is the one which is essentially when you are going to execute any specific process steps. And also, as demonstrated in the video, there are objectives. Whenever you click it, you know exactly what you are expected to do with this specific process module from the whole sequence. So the pick up the wafer is where we start with. And then when you have this, as if you are essentially touching, you are holding the wafer, and so you have to process substrate. So the next objectives is to load the wafer. So after we complete like each step, a new interaction point, the square one, is displayed in the training area. In assessment area, this is not shown, this is not displayed, because then we do not know, or you do not know exactly whether you have become familiar with the process sequence. And for each significant step, we have incorporated the actual photograph from the clean room environment, how it may look like. I would like to make a specific point here. We have used a certain set of equipment, and obviously going forward we would like to see more and more different kind of equipments, even with the same process objectives, to be incorporated within this environment. If you have any question, then there is a question button mark is there. So whenever you click on that, that will show you a hint of what should be done to complete the current step. So there are control panels. They will be displayed, and procedure and controls are an exact replica of the real-life standard operation procedure or protocol, the SOP. And during steps, so you can press these buttons to really have a process, the process recipe to be loaded there. It does not mean that at this point that exactly that the way that if in a real life environment, if I set 30 seconds with a 2000 RPM, that it's gonna be similar like that, but it will give you the feelings that what you can expect if you're running it in that kind of environment. And during steps where waiting times are required, a timer is displayed, and if you're in a hurry, then you can skip it, but we don't recommend that. There are sometimes, like, inside each interaction step, this button is displayed and is used to return to the main training area. You can go back to the main training area from these the tool console displays. The software animations have been replicated from the actual machine. So this is the one that someone, if using this specific equipment, they will see in their real life also. And there are also step animations replicated the actual movements of the machine to give you a first-hand feelings of, like, how things move over there, the motor mechanics involved with all these different processes and equipments. Substrate location can be tracked at any time, so that's not an issue. Just there are 2 points. One is the circular one to position yourself, and this is square one to position and to guide the equipment and the substrate for the next processing steps. The machines need to be left in the idle state before you're allowed to continue the training, and this is an important protocol because often whenever we are working in the clean room space, there is a lot of humming sound, noise, and busyness and everything. So sometimes we left our equipment without completely turning it off, and so this specific step is a part of that to preserve the integrity of our assets and equipments, as well as, like, to incorporate the safety protocols those are needed. The wet chemical bench, as I mentioned about the safety protocols, follow all the safety procedure, like, in step by step, because the more that we go through this training, this really gets loaded in our brain. So even if we are not absolutely mindful, we will be able to follow through on our safety protocols while we are working inside the clean room. The substrate status can also be tracked at any point during the assessment, so as if you are looking at this through the small window of a plasma equipment. So when you are done with this initial training step, the assessment and theory tests can be accessed. So whenever you go there, you will see that there are a set of questions, there are a set of you are being asked that, okay, so which modules, which process and lithography module that we have to go through. So set the sequence so you know that, okay, so this is how the lithography module, that every single processes has been carried out in the right sequence. As our next step, I will be taking you through the deposition. So just one example will be used, in this case the ALD. So again, we follow through the same process. Here's the machine name, here is the process description, here is the training interface, and here's the assessment. So we'll start with the training one. Again, proceed to the interaction area following this orange circular space. The initial screen shows the machine in its idle state. This is those of you who are working with the ALD, you are very much familiar with this. And once the chamber is vented, you can proceed to open it, as you saw in the video. And I place the substrate in the chamber, and then the chamber is at the vacuum. Now we can proceed and load the recipes following all these different the inputs that needs to be there based on the requirement of the specific equipment set. And after the recipe has been run, this is the time so that we can, after the vacuum conditioning has been normalized, pick up the substrate and closing the chamber. And pumping down is one of the critical steps after a usage of this kind of vacuum tool. So we let the users to make sure that they go through this process all the time. So even in the real life, like, that they don't forget these critical steps, which are not exactly the elemental process within that ALD deposition. But after that, to condition the equipment for the next user, or maybe I might be the user again. So a message appears on the screen when we go through this whole process. The process was successfully completed. To take you through very quickly another set of the equipment, which is the chemical mechanical polishing. The CNC machine starts idle state. We have to open the different pump valve to start the process. It has different modes of operation, so the training is designed to follow a manual operation that's being done. The CNC machine starts as an idle state. We enter our different values, and the process starts. As you can see that it's running. It's essentially going through the process of polishing it. And machine operation follows the same procedure as in the real tool. We see through the windows, and whenever it's done, place the substrate in the polishing head. And during the processing of the machine, you can see again the operation, what's going on. And when the lapping is being conducted, you can also see it as if it's happening in front of your eyes, although you are not within the clean room environment. And then it's the time to remove the substrate. Substrate result can be seen on the screen, as well as then we have to leave the machine in the idle state. And when all the safety protocols and the associated tool preservation procedures and protocols have been executed, then we'll be seeing that yes, that's the process module has been successfully completed. In the assessment side, after finishing the training, a simple assessment questionnaire can be accessed. So these are MCQ, multiple choice questions. You can choose from these different set of questionnaire, and evaluations are mainly based on these training steps. But we are looking for it, and every day we are engaging and inserting more and more questions, so that eventually it becomes the crowdsourcing, so that after verification the question will be appended here, so it becomes a huge data. So in context of help can be found in the initial instructional video. If the video does not answer your question, please contact us at info@vfablab.org. So the video, you can see it here, media, and instructional video will open on the first login. For question and comments, write to us. And the first time you log in, it may take a minute or two to start the app, so please be patient at the moment. You can now access all these using your desktop or laptop machines, and soon enough we will be launching the app version of this specific virtual FabLab environment. So this is a statement that you can find in the beginning of the front page of the website. It is openly accessible through online by academic institutions around the world, but it does not restrict other kind of institutions or very much appreciate if you can kindly mute the mic on your side. Okay, and then
I got home and had to go pick up something. I sent you a text message.
so since there is the early phase of this platform, providing accessibility in stages, and under each circumstance, data or share it with anyone. So therefore, it's absolutely yours. Kept fully confidential. So there are several people that for
The video.
in a forum, yes, today.
Oh yeah.
Turn off your mic.
Yeah.
You are getting a lot of noises from your mic. Okay, so the first question is that does V FabLab serve as a replacement of definitely not yet, but we are in the process of improving the whole process and to achieve a high level of training without the need of physically accessing the facilities for the training. Can anyone request that? Yes, we have V FabLab available for anyone. and who wants to learn about micro and nano fabrication processes. Do we share our data or evaluation results with anybody? Not at all. This is an absolute commitment that we take privacy very serious. Remember, V FabLab, we run on mobile platforms. As I mentioned, that not at this moment, but we are in the process of laying out the starting from the Q3 from this year. How many times you can access the evaluations? As many times as you want. We have no set, not set a limit in evaluations. If someone has any issues progressing in the first time, it's not a problem. They can go back to their training session again and take the assessment without any difficulty. Do you have to pay for the V FabLab? Not at all. V FabLab at the moment is free to use, and I envision that it will be free to use for definitely, like, the academic, the environments, at least the basic version of it. So where are we at this moment? When we started, within the kingdom a year back, and outside the kingdom from this middle of this year's January. So this is a remarkable progress that we have made, especially in Canada as well as in USA, Central America, including Mexico. There are many countries from the South America, from Ecuador to Colombia to Chile to Venezuela and even to Brazil and Argentina. We do have many users from the continental Europe as well as the United Kingdom, Northern Ireland, Ireland and Scotland. We have many users also from the North Africa as well as the Middle East region, and we do have some users from South Africa. We do have, we thank our users from China, Korea, Japan, Taiwan, as well as a large user base located in the South Asia, in India, in Bangladesh, in Pakistan, in Thailand, as well as in Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines, as well as some of the users are in Australia today that we are aware of. So what is our future expansion plans? We are going to improve constantly the user experience by deploying much more advanced the experience, like including the virtual reality, so that they have an enhanced user experience. And that's why we constantly seek your feedbacks. So please provide us with the feedbacks, info@vfablab.org, and where we will be including your contribution, including the knowledge. Many of you are well versed with different CMOS processes, and many of you are in the different levels of having this specific, very unique set of skill and knowledge. And we appreciate very much receiving your input to have a crowd knowledge contribution which will be included there. We will be continuing our partnership and involving the academia and industry, and we will be growing this more and more so that we have an expanded knowledge base through that. And it's not going to be only for the virtual, the clean room. There are other different disciplines involved there, from mechanical engineering to computer science to the biology and different other disciplines where going forward they can be included. And that doesn't necessarily need to be always like they started by us, but it can definitely be the folks like yourself who will be coming forward, and we'll be happy to incorporate them going forward. So I would like to actually go through this acknowledgement, because in the last 6 years when I first conceived the idea, I've met with many people, but these are, and I'm equally grateful to all of them, but there are some of the people that I must mention about their name because of their specific personal interest and the sincerely they have mentored and provided us with the feedback. And that's first starting with the Dean of Computer Electrical Mathematical Science and Engineering Division of KAUST, Professor Mutaz El-Nazahi. Without his support, this would not have been possible, the platform that we see today. So I'm immensely grateful to him. Dr. Mia Pan, the Chief Scientist for Exploration Technology at Ames Research Center, NASA, and our President-elect, IEEE Electron Devices Society, has constantly mentored me, like what to do and how it can eventually help the EDS societies throughout the world, and specifically for the learners who do not have otherwise access to the clean room facilities. I would like to express my gratitude to IEEE Electron Devices Society and its education, the division, because they are the one who are currently hosting and sponsoring this webinar. I'm very much thankful to them. I must mention about my former student and today he is a research scientist in EPMA, Switzerland, Dr. Gallo Torres Sevilla, who has managed this day-to-day progression and of this development process as well as the cloud deployment. Dean Suje King Liu of College of Engineering, University of California, Berkeley, who I work with from this semester, she has provided guidelines how we can improve this, and she has her personal interest, like how it's progressing. And former Dean James Plummer of the School of Engineering, Stanford University, he is a super enthusiastic person regarding this. He's one of the early, the pioneer of online-based education. Professor Mark Lundstrom, needless to say, NanoHub is one of his brainchild, and he is the professor of ECE in Purdue University. He has constantly provided feedback how we can improve and how we can potentially incorporate that with the NanoHub, the edX and other platforms which are available today. My current student, PhD candidate Sohail Faizan Sheikh, who is now in Harvard University, an electrical engineering course student who does maintain the site and its specifically the website and its the aesthetic. Kaust IT, who has been very supportive in context of checking the security, how we can make it secure, robust, and how we can lay down for the different geographic locations, and the countless participants and the well-wishers who have participated in different times the testing and have provided us with the feedback to present you what we showed you today. So to summarize this, Virtual Fab Lab is an online-based virtual cleanroom environment for training on semiconductor device fabrication. It was conceptualized and developed by myself and my lab, MMH Labs, with the support by Dean Mutaz El-Nazahi of the SEMC division at KAUST. Registration is required without any fee. No fee, never, nada. No data is shared or accessed. Currently used by the faculty community from the academic institutions, the students, the professionals from more than 34 countries at the moment as of this morning in Bay Area. A future extension is underway. We are looking forward to open sourcing, crowd knowledge, partnership with academia and industry, and we will be happy to hear from those of you who are interested to partner. And for future contact, please send us an email, info@vfablab.org. Thank you so much for participation today, and now I'll be happy to take questions. I'm now going to open up my chat box to actually see that what are the questions. Those are available, and then I will start responding to those. So the audience, please go ahead. You can start typing your questions, and I'll be happy to respond to those. I just received a question. Thank you for thank you for the audience. The question is, are automated handling equipment for cassette-to-cassette actions being planned? Yes, we are in the process of implementing a completely automated version which replicates a class 1 clean room in the high-end CMOS facility. There is another question, will I be posting the slides to the EDS website? Yes, we will be posting the slides. So just to let you know that there are some animations, so it may take some time to download them. And one of the things is definitely the EDS is archiving this overall presentation, so you will be able to access, and those of our interested and enthusiasts who could not make themselves available today, so they will also have access. Another question, thank you for the questionnaire. Is it possible to integrate specific layout designs into the V FabLab and follow the fab progression through the processes? Yes, obviously we are working on that, and we are really looking for more partnership, because we can come up with a limited set of equipment, limited set of layouts and designs, as well as the process integration sequences. But the more that we will be having your inputs, then we can incorporate, and because our objective is to really make it a robust tool. Many of us who work in the day-to-day in the clean room spaces, we do know that this is that this kind of I would say the knowledge base can be extremely handy, not for the professionals and for those of us who are conducting research and development and manufacturing, but for anybody to excite them and to spread the knowledge through other disciplines too. So Stacy just made a comment that EDS will be posting the webinar including the voice. Yes, another fantastic question, how are different equipment suppliers being addressed? So we are looking forward to the suppliers that they will come forward looking at and hearing about this, and where we will be able to actually take different, the set of input variables that we need from their equipment, and then we can model that and insert it in the in this clean room environment. And I would just like to actually mention about something. When I was a program manager in Sematech, I have worked with different equipment manufacturers. I have seen sometimes for limited number of equipments, it becomes a hassle to have a physical equipment. But there is now the opportunity that we can model that, and the different user base, based on their requirement, they can access it and they can play with it to provide their feedback, so that the equipment manufacturers, they can take all those feedbacks into their depository and can design and build the equipment to serve the specific purposes of a specific user. A question came, at the moment students may design a process and see the various process steps and tuning, but not the device result. Yes, this is correct, but we are, as I mentioned, that we are making progress, so that in our next iteration, which is going to be our the version 2, that will incorporate those kind of activities, where we should be able to see what's going on with the device. So just to let you know, although I will be reading it, but I'm pretty sure that EDS is going to send it out after this webinar, that there is an archive link for all the webinar, including this one, https://eds.ieee.org. Essentially, you go to the EDS, you write in Google IEEE EDS, it will take you to that site, and then just look for webinar -archive.html. So it is a popular button, so you should not have any problem to access this specific webinar, including the others. There is another question came for this. Uh, will the impact of the process on the wafer be included to see the physical change of the process? Yes, that's the plan. As you know, that sometimes when we start in the clean room, this is a pretty popular with everyone, the different deposition thicknesses of the oxide, how the color changes. So that's a great start to work with. Thank you for the comment on a great compliment to foundry services. We look forward to work with the different foundry services, the equipment manufacturer, as well as the semiconductor and the electronic industries, and definitely the academia. One of the things is that I am is a hybrid who went to industry, came to academia from industry, so kind of a bridge equipment that from 4-inch wafer to 8-inch to 12-inch wafer. So having that skill and the knowledge has helped us to reach this state, but to grow we need your support, especially on the giving us the feedbacks and how we can actually on the time to time providing the required information that can be incorporated going forward. We still have, I believe, 4 minutes or so we can happy to receive some more questions. So another question came. Thanks for this. How does V FabLab compare to a process simulator to Centurus or Athena? Fantastic question. The Centurus or Athena, or the most of these, the TCAD tools, where we can set process parameters and we can design a device and see that how the device performance, the characteristics, the performance will be impacted by different process inputs. And it can depend on the different models which are already exist within the library, right? So that's where the process simulators are so great, and they're incorporated with the device simulation. V FabLab, on the other hand, provides a real-time opportunity where someone will have the feelings that as if they're building the device itself within the clean room environment. And the more that we will enrich it, so they will be seeing the impact on the device, on the device itself. And I personally think this is a great idea to eventually hook this up with Centurus, Athena, or this kind of different TCAD, the tool sets, where not only that we can observe what's happening, if there is a process glitch, or if we overdo or underdo processes or something like that, and how that is impacting the overall device performance. So the data can be pulled exactly from the V FabLab into the Centurus or Athena or the other TCAD, the Medici, and they can generate and they can do the automated modeling based on the already the libraries that we are going to select, and can provide us that, okay, so this is what you are going to see. So this is nearly analogous to the EDAS that we use in the industry, that after silicide module or after the whole process have been done in the back end of line, that it's like the devices have already been characterized and we can analyze it. Thank you for this fantastic question. That gives us a very good idea. That is an intriguing question. So the V FabLab would be adding non-ideal inputs. Going forward, the more that we can make it the real time, that would be the objective. And this is going to be a very difficult process, but we are hopeful that we do have certain ideas, and we're going to actually do with some simple process and test cases, that, okay, so we do have set the temperature at 300 degrees Celsius for next 30 minutes. But what happens if there is a power shutdown after 14 minutes? So that's an uncertain variable that we would like to add and see how it actually moves. There is another question: how can we get university lab level equipment to be incorporated in your platform, such as Carlsys mask aligner? Please contact us using vFabLab, info@vfablab.org, so that we can work with you and can incorporate this. So there is a question, is it an open source? Yes, the inputting of this is going to be open source at this point, and always it will be open to the students, the learners, at least the basic version that what you saw today, and it will be enhanced. But there will be some advanced version where more specific requirements from specific users, they can be entertained using different routes. But the overall platform, the basic version will be open always for everyone without any registration fee. The fantastic question again. Normally a power interrupt to scrap the wafer a lot. Does this need modeling? Not exactly, but let's assume that, okay, so sometimes we have just a real life experience. So we have a wafer in a vacuum chamber, and it was supposed to be running for 6 hours. At a certain point, after 4 hours, there was a power glitch, and the tool is coming back up. And then let's say, even before our intervention, that there can be potentially, that there are some processes. So let's say that it was an oxidation process. It's not a vacuum chamber. So we do have the saturated temperature, let's say for 1300 degrees Celsius, but then there was this power glitch, so it just stopped working. So then it's a temperature ramp down. So it's still, there has been some oxidation, so we just need to know that how much it is. So in those cases, this can be handy. Okay, so there is a question again. What about bump processing for flip chip package preparation? Are there plans to include these unique processes? Those are involved with the 3D IC. As you know, that I came from the integration background, and definitely these are in our mind, but these are a little bit more complex set of challenges at the moment. So let's say that when we are done with the module level, then we will be actually providing opportunity to have first an MOS capacitor, and then going from there an unipolar MOS effect transistor, and then when we have them, then we will be in a position to actually convert the MOS capacitor into an MIM, a metal insulator, a metal capacitor, which can be the backbone of a memory module, and the transistor as a logic module, and then combining them through, we can go for a 3D stacking, which can potentially provide us with this bump processing, alignment, the interposer, all these different kind of process, the elements and the modules and the materials to be incorporated there. Okay, so I think we are pretty much at the end of our webinar today. I will just, we're going to respond to this last question. Is it possible to do clean room fabrication on these before actually going to the clean room? That is a fantastic question. I think our initial objective is to provide all the users with a learning experience, and when the learning experience is being done, then to incorporate that real time and the real life the incorporation opportunities, so that we can see that okay, what really happens on a on a wafer or the devices, both from the process perspective and the material, as well as the performance perspective. And that's why that at the end there will be today even when you are working in a class 1 the professional grade the volume manufacturing clean room space, you provide you run the algorithm, you set the process sequence, and mostly the robotics actually carry out the actual processing within the clean room environment. And then when you have the wafers, those are also being characterized automated using the automated equipment. So that transition is not going to be that difficult, but our focus at the moment will be the learning, as well as to have a really the real life, real time learning, as well as the full-fledged experience that okay, so this is, if I was running in the fab, this would have been like this. That's where our objective is. Okay, having said that, I think we have reached our 1 hour time frame, and thank you so much every one of you for participating. Please spread the word. Please contribute and reach out to us with your email. Again, it's info@vfablab.org, and I would like to again acknowledge all the people who I have talked about, and definitely Stacy, who has actually been instrumental to make it happen today. She's the one who has worked behind the scene to make sure that even I receive the headphone, the mic, and everything. My MacBook Air really goes well with this presentation. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. So Stacy, I'm going to stop sharing and we'll stop my video.